So, we both went to the theater separately, and we both saw the same movie, and that movie was Insurgent. I don't think we came out with as good an impression of this movie as we did of the first one.
No.
Let me tell you. I walked into it, and she'd seen it first. She was like, it was okay. And I walked into it, and I'm like, yeah, it was okay. I don't know, the first one had such great pacing.
Mm-hmm.
The characters were really good. They were still really good this time, but they just didn't have, I feel, as much material to work off of. And the story for this one just kind of goes down. Yeah. So, what did you like about it? Let's start there.
It was pretty.
It was pretty.
The guy from Lost showed up. It was pretty.
The actors did a good job.
It was just really blah for me. Just like,
Yeah.
It was 2 hours, it happened, I sat through it, I kind of got bored, I just kind of was waiting for the end, and then it ended, and I got up and I left.
I kind of just watched the beginning, I'm like, look at Amity. Amity looks amazing. Why would you go to any other house? I'm just gonna
become Amity and eat the special bread.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay in Amity and just live in paradise this entire time. Why would you ever leave?
So, before we, start really picking into it, where did you think you'd technically be? Like, what faction would you think you'd be?
I don't know. I'm actually thinking maybe Amity. Or Erudite would be the second option.
Yeah, I think probably the same for me. I don't think I could be Candor. I don't think I could actually, say everything.
Yeah. Be that brutally honest all the time. And Dauntless looks fun, but the whole weapons training thing...
Jumping onto trains.
Ziplining
off of really tall buildings.
This is planning maybe I do.
Climbing a Ferris wheel?
Maybe.
Yeah, no. I'm probably saying Amity or Erudite.
Now that we got that out of the way.
Okay, so this movie. Things I didn't like. This movie.
I didn't like her hair. I sat through most of the movie going, oh look what Hazel's doing. because she had her long, beautiful hair at the beginning, and then she's like, I needed to change, and she cuts it. But she cuts it so that it looks exactly like Hazel's hair. And I was like, that is a mistake. They should not have done that. If they're going to cut her hair, they should have, done something differently where it was long in the front, short in the back, or somehow made it different, because they just kind of looked at her and was like, we'll put some highlights in and she'll be totally different. But then you have, her love interest from the other film running around as her brother, and I'm like, I can't get Hazel out of my head.
I really don't like Eric's face, and I don't know what it is. I don't, whenever he shows up, I didn't like him in the first movie. I just didn't. I didn't like him at all. And I didn't
like him as
Eric either. I didn't find him very believable. I found him kind of they toned him down. And in my opinion, I thought he should have been a lot more... he got into people's faces like he was supposed to, but there wasn't I wasn't afraid of him. That's the thing. When I remember reading the book, and he would be getting all up in Triss's grill, he was scary. When they're doing the knife throwing thing, I legitimately thought that he was going to kill someone. He freaks me out. But in the movie, he's just oh yeah, I'm a bad guy. Look at me. I'm a bad guy. And so I hated his face. And he shows up in this movie, and I'm like, oh, it's that guy. I hated that guy. The entire time I'm just I hate you.
I don't know. I kind of looked at him, and he's such a giant douchebag. And I felt like that part was accurate. You kind of wanted to just punch him in the face every time you saw him.
I kind of found him douchebag light. The diet version of douchebag, where it's just phoning in enough that you're a douchebag, but not the extra calories of douchebaggery.
What could he have done to have gotten to full douchebag?
I don't know, have a war face?
A war face?
I'm thinking Full Metal Jacket, what's your war face? He's just kind of hello, Thor. It's good to see you again. Attempt to smirk.
You pointed out, which I found it really kind of funny, is that every actor in this movie, except for the actor who plays Thor, Theo James, has a baby face. And I was like, hey, you're right.
I don't remember the book that much.
I don't
I
either.
think that's the problem. Like, the plot felt weird to me.
I felt that in the book too. Like, that's not. It felt very contrived almost. Like, she's trying to get to point Z, and she's just kind of hitting the letters as she goes. She's not like, oh, and then this happened, and then life is a coincidence, so this happened, and like, there's no back and forth. It's just like A to Z.
And like the box with a super secret message that totally was a tesseract. That box, the MacGuffin.
Uh-huh.
Was that like? I don't remember. I remember vaguely them finding something in the mothers in like their house, but it feels weird. The whole like, oh, the only way to get in is to use these simulations to break the box.
Yeah.
It just.
That's like the plot of every
magic
box.
It leaves me with a few questions. Question number 1. How long was this, like, society there? Like, how many generations do we have the society?
200 years.
So, how far advanced is our tech? Because you have this little box, right? And it just, like, matches our current level tech. You'd think that they'd have to, like, jimmy rig it in or something different, like, split wires.
I guess.
Or was, like, the 200 years so closely monitored that they didn't advance anywhere? Which doesn't make any sense when you think of, like, the entire knowledge society, like, district thing is, like, super pushing forward for tech. And, like, advancements.
Yeah.
It was, like, the timeline was too wonky in my head, because I'm trying to, like...
I don't remember so many high-tech gadgets in Divergent. They're kind of like, oh, we got guns. That's about it. Oh, we've got this magic serum.
Well, we have a lot of serums.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you wouldn't think that we're gonna like plug Triss into the Matrix into the magic box.
Yeah.
So that kind of like...
It threw you off.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was from the book. It was just kind of the way they had to present it on screen to make it look all cool. And
Yeah. Like the movie was just... Will I watch it again? Probably not. The performance is awful? No.
There wasn't anything that stood out about these movies.
That's what it is, right there. It's just, it's the rush it out while the trend is still there kind of feel to it.
Again, I remember the first one had humor.
Mm-hmm.
Again, humor in ways that you didn't quite expect, but it was there. And I remember coming back and being like, oh, this scene was so funny, and oh, this scene was so cool, and I didn't think of it like that, but it was really neat. But this one, you're just kind of like, oh, they just kind of had conversations.
Going through the motions.
The end.
Oh, by the way, the gate's opening now, so woohoo!
Yay! And, I mean, the one thing I guess that stood out in my head was the creepy mother. Sitting there watching her...
By his sleep?
But he's sleeping with his girlfriend.
I know,
so
yeah, that was kind of weird.
I mean, granted it was a dream, but she took that really well in stride. Not like, hey, this is a little creepy that you're watching me and your son lie cuddled in this bed. She was just kind of like, oh, we're going to have this conversation now. I was like, ooh, okay,
Yeah.
this is totally awkward.
So, that's our review for Insurgent.
Yeah. So, let us know what you think. Are we completely off base, or are we...
How accurate was the movie to the book? Someone please tell us that.
Okay, see you later, guys.